For today's lecture, we'll talk a little bit about computer crime, fraud, ethics, and privacy. And it's important to, before you dive into the topic matter, consider just what it is we mean by ethics. Now, you may have discussed this in other courses or even in this course during a classroom session. But you can think about ethics from a number of different perspectives. You've got a personal set of ethics and even a kind of a group dynamic set of ethics. So you can have them at a personal level, you can have them in a group or at an organizational level. They basically boil down to whatever set of moral principles you base your decisions on, and they can be based on lots of different things: your upbringing, your family, your a personal situation, the peer group you hung out with, or the multiple peer groups for that matter, all had a hand in shaping that. Religious organizations that you participated in, religious beliefs, your philosophical background or leanings, ancient philosophy, the Greek philosophers kind of play a big role in ethics. Certainly if you have talk to any professors in the philosophy department, they'll talk to you all day long about ethics. So there's a lot of background ethics. And then what is computer crime? What do we consider computer crime? And we can think about that in terms of different criminal statutes that we've had over history and how they have been used and how broadly they have been used to pursue criminal misdeeds. And then finally, fraud. What constitutes fraud? You've certainly probably considered that in your other courses, certainly in audit courses and probably other courses as well. All right, so ethics basically is our moral set of principles, values. They can govern us as individuals, but they also govern organizational behavior as well. Thus, you see people at conflict in cases like Enron, where you had people asked to do things that they didn't feel comfortable about, but at the same time, they also wanted their job. They were highly vested in maybe stock options that they had to stick around and wait for them to mature, so on and so forth. So organizations and individuals, and of course the organizational ethics are driven to a great degree by that tone at the top that we've talked about in the COSO Cube, the COSO discussions, and certainly other discussions as well. So now the only way an external viewer can see your ethics is based on what you do. So your ethical behavior basically boils down to making the proper choices, making those judgments that are appropriate, and then taking the according action, taking the appropriate action. So what is ethical? And we could talk about personal character as a continuum. First, we have completely unethical, amoral behavior, if you think about it, and that would be sort of the Machiavellian approach. What's in it for me? Pure individualism. Whatever's selfish, expedient for me is okay, and that includes any lying, cheating, stealing I need to do to get there. All right, so that's unethical. Ethical, as you see in the middle column, well, what is fair and equitable? What is going to benefit both or all parties to this transaction? Whatever that transaction may be, it could be a social engagement, it could be a business deal, whatever. And in this case, we tend to think about honesty. We tend to think about fairness. We tend to, consider rules and what they are and making sure that we abide by them. And on the far end of the personal character, we've got the virtuous or selfless behavior, which certainly is commendable, but isn't necessarily required in order to be ethical. Okay? So here we say the attitude, the individual attitude would be, how can I serve others? How can I contribute? So here you get into, the ways to serve society. How can I help? How can I help others? And it could be in small ways, or it could be, through various types of roles that you choose to participate in. So in here down, you can see the behaviors, rather than focusing on honesty and fairness, possibly then we focus on compassion, kindness, and sharing. All right. So virtuous, certainly good, not required in order to be ethical.